Well, welcome to this special edition of the Beacon of Light podcast. We're going to get to that in a minute. But before we do that, we're going to let you meet Emily.
Hey.
So, what do you do, Emily? What is Emily's role with the Beacon of Light podcast that nobody, has seen? Nobody's seen her till, just now. And I think it's important to read what happens behind the scenes, right?
Well, I set up all the mics and the cameras, and then I take them down, and then I edit. I just edit the podcast.
So, this is this is where the nuts and the bolts are, right? So she's almost like she's on the front lines blocking for us, and we're running the ball, right? Her uniform's getting all dirty. Ours is crystal clean because she's blocking for us.
You love your football. What are those called?
Analogies.
Yeah,
Well, I got others, but yeah, I mean, she's the one with the nuts and the bolts doing the behind scenes work. So thank you for what you do, Emily. Oh, and by the way, you're with child.
I am.
She's going to have her first boy
and child.
And child.
And
right.
Boy child.
And
well, what I love about what Emily does is that she gets to prioritize being with her baby that is growing, and she gets to do meaningful work.
At the exact same time, yeah.
It's wonderful because she gets to work in a field that she cares about. Emily is a musician, a fantastic singer and recording artist, and so she gets to keep those skills honed while she's also making a baby. And so I love having her.
So thank you.
Mix.
Well, thank you guys.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for you.
Yeah.
Okay, now get out of the podcast.
Okay. By the way, I learned what an audible is because of you.
Oh,
yeah, he really likes
those. Actually, Emily, before you go, you get to know that you sitting here is in fact
an audible.
an audible.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so now that Emily has vacated the Harveyest of vans, we're going to dive right in. And just for everybody that can hear, you have no idea what I'm about to say. You might have, I don't know. But okay, the purpose of this podcast is to talk about some truths, right? And the truth of the matter is that our entire system is designed for people to fail. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how the system is designed to fail, not just much in society, because everywhere we turn as human beings, they want us to fail, right? When I say they, who is they? Well, it could be the pharmaceutical industry that wants you to stay on drugs, which is where we're going to focus right now, okay? These people with their addictions. Now, what I'm going to do now is have a very, I'm going to have a conversation with you, right? And if you have any questions along the way, just ask. But we're going to start with what I believe. Oh, and by the way, these problems that I'm going to discuss right now, I have the solutions for these problems, right? So we're not just going to complain. We're going to say, oh, here's how we can fix this problem. Now, this problem that we're going to talk about right now is the insurance industry, right? And we're going to kind of break this down a little bit so people can understand. And if there's anybody out there that wants to dispute what I'm about to say to you, once again, bring it, right? But here's how this works. In this industry, we have a commercial insurance payer, and there's a number of commercial insurances that are out there. You got, Select Health, Aetna, Blue Cross Blue Shield. I honestly don't know how Blue Cross Blue Shield calls themselves an insurance company, but so the way the insurance companies are set up is this. They pay people like me something known as an all-inclusive rate, meaning that the individuals getting treatment at my facility, that insurance company will pay me the daily allowable, what they're going to pay me per patient per day, and they really don't care what that person does when they are in treatment at Beacon Recovery or any other facility for that matter. Meaning, as a business owner, from a business perspective, it's cost effective for me to stick this person and every other person that's in my facility in the group room. And the group room, depending on your licensor, will allow you to put X amount of people. For the purposes of this conversation, we're going to say 12, right? So now you have 12 people sitting in the group room all day, every day. They're in there watching movies, they're doing process group, they're doing things that groups do. I have zero incentive to yank somebody out of that group room and put them in anything individual at all. Because when I do that, right, well, I'm losing money. First of all, if it's, let's say, a therapist, I'm spending between $45 and $60 per hour. And when I yank them out of that group room, right, they're, I have no incentive to do that because I'm actually losing money because I'm spending that salary that I just talked about for the hour that I otherwise wouldn't have spent. So it makes sense for me to leave them in the group room the entire time. And I think I've touched on this before. You can pick the facility. It doesn't matter which one it is. Go to any outpatient you want and ask them. I did talk about this before. How often are you seeing a master's level clinician? They're going to tell you if they're doing really good once per week. But most of the time, you're going to see once every 2 weeks. There's a reason for that. It doesn't make any sense for me financially, given the current system, commercial payer system. Makes no sense for me to yank that person out of the group room and lose that kind of money with any level of regularity. Now, at Beacon Recovery, they're seeing that master's level clinician a minimum of 3 times per week, and that's with 2 different therapists. We believe there's a benefit for that. But we're going to go back to the insurance model, and we'll talk about the benefit of getting more therapy in a minute. So I don't have any incentive. I'm actually discouraged from pulling somebody out of the group room because I'm losing money. Now, I'm not suggesting that the insurance companies change their payout, whatever it is. Let's say maybe an Aetna policy. Once again, I won't use Blue Cross Blue Shield because they don't really pay at all. But an Aetna policy, you're going to be easily getting about $600 a day, right? I'm not suggesting that the Aetna folks or any other insurance company change their payout. Matter of fact, their payouts are based on the Medicaid model, and that's what I want to talk about. Instead of doing an all-inclusive payout, do what Medicaid does. Every modality that we offer is assigned to a code that Medicaid, and I think those codes are directives of the ASAM. I can't say for sure, but I think it is. But nonetheless, Medicaid has codes. I'm suggesting that the insurance companies pay that way, not to pay any more than you're currently paying. There's the solution. Use that model. Now what you're going to do is you're going to encourage people like me to pull somebody out of the group room because what I'm getting paid for the group is a much lower amount. It's like $20 an hour for the patient, right? But if I can do, I don't know, a 90837, which is the code that we use in Medicaid for somebody getting therapy, right? It pays X amount of dollars. And we have another code for peer support, another one, a separate one for case management. We have another one for neurofeedback. We have codes for all of these separate things that are all individually given to these people. Now you're pulling them out of the group room and they're getting so much more one-on-one. And for each one of these things that is assigned a code, you're making more money. And you can segregate your payout, whoever you are, whatever insurance company you are. You're not going to pay any more. You're just going to change the way you are paying. Now you're going to say, guaranteed, so I'm going to cut you off at the pass, insurance company. You're going to say, no, I can't afford to do that. Because what you're asking me to do is redo my system and incorporate these codes. I can't afford to do that. Well, let's break that down for a second, right? And let's go over to what you're currently doing. Because what you're doing right now is you are forcing people like me to do something known with regularity every, 5 to 10 days, something known as a utilization review. Now, in that utilization review, you have therapists just like mine scrutinizing my notes. Now, I found out today that those therapists, they get paid more for a denial than they do an approval. So when this the utilization review takes place, there's a therapist with the insurance company representative with one of my representatives, which, by the way, this is costing me money to make this happen because I have to have a therapist there as well to justify us wanting to give this person treatment, right? Now, this therapist that's being employed by the insurance company, their sole purpose in life is to scrutinize my notes and make sure that and find problems in my notes so they can then say, we aren't going to pay for this treatment to happen anymore. Now, the insurance company's thinking that they're saving money by doing this because, of course, whatever their payout per day is, their daily allowable, they're no longer paying that for this period of time. But what these knuckleheads don't realize is that they're yanking somebody out of treatment smack dab oftentimes in the middle of their treatment. So you're right. You're not making that daily payment anymore to people like myself. But since you've yanked them out of treatment, and by the way, that utilization review where that therapist is looking at our notes, that therapist has spent 0 minutes with the patient. None. Not 1 second have they had that patient in front of them. Our therapists, on the other hand, well, they spent countless hours with them because remember, at Beacon Recovery, they're seeing a therapist 3 to 5 times per week, depending on the severity of their issues. So we're spending a lot of time with these people. But here you are, without spending any time with these people, telling us, you forgot to cross that T or dot that I, so we're going to stop payment. Thinking, insurance company, that you're going to make money and paying that person in that utilization review more money for a denial than an acceptance to continue the treatment. But that person then gets out. If we're lucky when they relapse, because what you're doing is you're really increasing the opportunity for them to relapse because they're in the middle of their treatment. If we're lucky, they don't die. But then, you ditwits, they come back to get treatment. Maybe not at my place, but somewhere else. And when they do, they're going to file claims with you and you're going to spend more money. So don't tell me you can't implement those codes for the money you're going to lose on the front end when I'm going to save you. This system is going to save you millions on the back end. Now, how is it that you insurance companies are paying the people that are sitting in those utilization reviews more money for a denial than you are for an acceptance? Because you're encouraging failure. These people that are addicted, let's talk about them for just a real quick second, a minute, in fact. Because when we talk about the person that's addicted, right, the addicts, what happens as a society, we automatically think of this rundown house, you know, water dripping out of that sink over there that's nasty. Maybe there's a couple of individuals passed out. One of them's got a needle stuck in her arm, right? We think of that. Or we think of the husband stealing from his wife's bank account to support his habit. Dark. Or we think about the person breaking into someone else's home, stealing things, committing heinous crimes, women and men both prostituting themselves to support their habit. We think of all these dark, dark, dark places, right? Well, that's not the actual picture for these people that are addicted. That's not who they are. Are these things actually happening? Yeah, with some rarities, but for the most part, these people aren't doing these things. These people with their addictions are beautiful human beings. They are beautiful, right? They really are. I get to walk the halls at Beacon, and I just get to pop in here and there, and I get to experience these precious people. They're human beings. They really are. And they deserve better, right? They do deserve better. Um, but this insurance company debacle, it's a train wreck. It is designed from beginning to end for these people to fail, right? And I've often wondered why. What do you people, I mean, really? Is this your attempt at thinning the herd? Or are you protecting your investment? Are you guys intertwined with the pharmaceutical industry, right? Here's one for you. A while back, about a year or so ago, I had a patient living in one of our homes, right? Um, I got a call that something wasn't right, so I went to the house, and sure enough, this kid was in the middle of being OD'd, right? He had taken too much of whatever it was. His speech was slurred. He wasn't in a good way. So I put him in my vehicle, right? And I drove him to the emergency room. They started an IV on this young man. And I said, okay, when he gets done with whatever is happening, for you guys to do whatever you're going to do, I want you to call me when he's about done. I'll leave my office, right? And I'll take him back to the home, to the transitional living house that we have for the men. So they did. And I went and picked him up. And when I did, we're having now a normal conversation. He's back to good. He's looking at me, having conversations. Everything's normal, right? And we're driving back to the home. He breaks out a container. You know, those little containers with different slots for different pills. And he opens it up, and it's full of pills. And I look down, and I'm like, no, well, hold on a sec. What? You didn't have that before. Yeah, this is what they sent me with. So I say, well, hold on. Is any one of the stuff that I'm looking at the same pills that you just OD'd on? The same thing? And he said, yeah, it's this one. And he pointed to a large section with it topped off, full of the same exact pills. Do you not know, in the emergency room people, the staff, the doctors, whoever you are, that's why we brought him in here? Why on earth would you give him something that he's going to abuse? Right? Now, did I get frustrated? Yeah. It's not this kid's fault, though. Or I have another patient that recently went in to have surgery. She's got an addiction problem. And what do you think they're wanting to pump in her IV? Something that's going to cause her to get stuck in her addiction again. The system is set up for these people to fail. Every turn that they go down, everywhere they turn, because of course they're addicts. They're on Medicaid. They don't have a lot of money, right? And they might have tattoos in visible places. And so we don't really care about these people, right? Because, well, they're contagiously addicted to whatever. And they don't have any money. And they're on Medicaid. So what I wanted to do was have this conversation, right? And here's one for you. And what I'm about to describe to you right now is happening with regularity, at least in the state of Utah, probably across the country. Watch this. I've got a judge, we've mentioned him before, Judge Maynard, who is in charge of the drug court. This is the podcast. Oh, by the way, did you air that one with Matthew and... Yeah, that one, right? That came out, what, Tuesday? Okay. You would think that judge would have enough sense to recognize that, I don't know, 90-ish, easily 90% of the people that are going through his drug court, they're going to get diagnosed with something known as a substance abuse disorder. That is their diagnosis because they're addicted to drugs. You would think that the good judge would have made an effort to recognize that the place that he's sending them to, forcing them to go to, by the way, Bear River Mental Health, okay, when somebody gets diagnosed with a substance abuse disorder, 90+% of them are going to get assigned a level of care as dictated by the ASAM, right? That is called high intensity outpatient, right? Used to be called PHP, but the latest version of the ASAM has upgraded, and I like the version or the name that they've given it now, high intensity. Well, Your Honor, you're sending them to a place that doesn't offer that level of care. All they offer is IOP. A little bit, it's a step down. It's not as intense. But say they don't offer that. You would think that you would have enough caring about these people that you'd have done research and recognize that the people that are in your drug court are going to get diagnosed with a, substance abuse disorder. That's why they're in the drug court. And it's a privilege. And if those people dare say, wait, I don't want to go to a place First of all, they don't know. They think because he's sitting up a little higher than them and they're sitting in a courtroom and he's got his gavel in that black robe that he must be telling them the truth. And he isn't. He's lying to them. And he's forcing them to go to a place that doesn't even offer the level of care that they deserve to get. That is a human rights violation of epic proportions. Once again, these people deserve better. Oh, and let's talk about Bear River, who has a contract with Utah Medicaid. And in that contract, it specifically states that if they don't offer a level of care, that they are supposed to go out and find someplace that does. I'm going to suggest to you that there's a very strong possibility that instead of giving them the level of care that they deserve, HI, right, high intensity, they're saying we don't offer it, so we're going to give you the level of care of the highest we offer, which is IOP. Your Honor, did you know that that's what's happening, sir? And as our previous podcast that aired yesterday, we heard from Matthew, right, who was going to be homeless to get accepted into the drug court and said to the judge, but Your Honor, I'm going to be homeless. By the way, he decided to let oh, by the way, here's the advantages of going to the drug court, right? That felony, well, you complete the drug court will get wiped off of your record. Guess what Matthew has on his record for the rest of his life, right? That felony. Because he chose sobriety. He chose his staying cleanness, right? Versus being forced to go to a place that doesn't even offer the level of care that he deserves as somebody that suffers from an addiction, right? This is maddening. Once again, everywhere we turn, these people, how do they not think about it, man? How are they supposed to get past their addictions? Is everywhere you turn, every corner they go around, they're getting slapped in the face of, we're going to do what we can to make sure you stay addicted, right? To include a judge telling them, because they could, these people, say, hey, wait, Your Honor, I don't know, that's not true. I'm not going to go to Bear River Mental Health. I'm going to go to Beacon or someplace else. And you can't really stop me. And well, if you try to take the drug court away from me, that's like, is there some kind of a law against that, Your Honor? I mean, really? I mean, dang, why are you forcing me to go over there? And look, to the judge's credit, I know why he's doing this. I mean, I think back in the day, all he had was Bear River Mental Health. But the instant Beacon Recovery comes onto the scene, you owe it to these people to find out what exactly is happening at Beacon Recovery. And here's the tragedy. At Beacon Recovery, we lead the nation with success. More people are staying off of drugs that graduate our program than in anywhere that I'm aware of in the United States of America. And by the way, there's one for you. Here's another solution to assist us with everybody getting a better rate with reference to success. Hold people like me accountable, system, right? When I get ready to renew my license, right? Tell me that I have to have a very robust and have me show you a very robust aftercare program. What am I doing with these people after they've left my facility when I'm no longer receiving funds from whatever insurance companies that give me the funds? Right? Make me show you something that I'm staying in contact with these people in some capacity. Because when I do that, if nothing else, those people know that I love them enough that I'm going to reach out to them with regularity. Or if I want to start a new facility, make me show you, whoever you are, the licensing body for the state of Utah, make me show you that I've got an aftercare program. Because right now, that doesn't exist. So anybody that's going to suggest that they know what their recidivism rate is, right? How? If you see the recidivism rate for the state of Utah or the United States of America, it's going to be depicted to the rate in which people are getting reincarcerated, because there's no way, and with our current system, that anybody can tell you what the recidivism rate is for substance abuse, because it's not being tracked and or monitored in any capacity. But when you look at the 10.42% recidivism rate that we have, that's because we are spending the money and the time, right? These are beautiful human beings. They really are,
Mm-hmm.
right? And once again, they don't know when that judge is telling them something that they can challenge him, right? And shame on him. Shame on you, Judge Maynard. There, I said it. You should have taken some time. You still should take some time, right? What exactly is Beacon Recovery doing? Really? At, well, you shouldn't be sending anybody with a substance abuse disorder to a place that can't give people the level of care they deserve. Period. You shouldn't be. And shame on you, Bear River, for not following your contract with Utah Medicaid that specifically tells you in the contract that if you don't offer a level of care that these people deserve, and if you're not diagnosing them properly, ooh, dang, ooh, not good. Now, I'm going to tell you that about 90% or higher of the people that come to our facility at Beacon, and by the way, it's the same population that goes to me that goes to them. Exact same population for the most part, right? And about 95% plus of the people that come to us that are diagnosed with a substance abuse disorder go directly to the highest level of care that we can offer. High intensity. You can't tell me that the population that we are diagnosing for a high intensity because of their substance abuse disorder, you aren't doing this exact same thing. And your contract specifically states that when that happens, you're to find somebody that can offer something that you don't, and you aren't. Ooh, once again, gosh darn, not good for you if, well, they're supposed to get that level of care that you don't offer, but you're saying, well, just stick around anyways, and we'll let you take advantage of the highest level of care we offer. Ugh. In your honor, you're sending people to this. You're doing that. You're sending somebody. You didn't at least get your staff to do the research, or maybe you should have taken one of the opportunities that I've given you to meet with me so I could share this with you. Instead of ignoring me, you probably should have listened. Now here's where we are. I'm calling you out publicly. Which, by the way, you're probably going to stop my staff from going into your courtroom every, I think, Monday. You've already, I don't know where it came from, but all of a sudden, I've got a sheriff deputy, the people that, scan people when you put your stuff when you walk into a courtroom, one of those guys, telling my staff that she can no longer hand out trifolds in the lobby of the courtroom. Really? Why? He accuses her of handing the stuff out in the courtroom, and she's like, no, I never do that. We sit in the courtroom, and as soon as the judge says, I'm ordering you, whoever he's talking to get an assessment, we quietly stand up, no fanfare, and we leave. And we wait for that person to come out of the courtroom, and we wait for them to get done talking to their probation officer and or their lawyer or both. And when those conversations are all complete, we then let them know that, well, the judge just ordered you to get an assessment. We can provide that for you if you so desire. Right? And that's what I was going to suggest to you. Worst case scenario, when somebody goes to his court, what he should be doing at least is saying, here's some brochures from the facilities that are available to you in this town. Pick. Now, that would be something that would work so long as the other facility offers the level of care that they deserve to get. But he's not even doing that. He's forcing them, if they want to be in the drug court and get their felonies expunged, he's making them go to Bear River. Do you know, Your Honor? Ooh, do you? No? The place you're forcing them to go doesn't offer the level of care that they deserve to get. And that they're not doing what their contract with Utah Medicaid says for them to do, which is to find some place for them to go that does, in fact, offer the level of care that they deserve. Did you know that? I mean, because if you did and you're doing it anyway, surely you don't know. Well, now you do know, right? And while we're on the subject of, calling people out, Utah Medicaid, did you know that one of your folks that you have this contract with, well, they're not doing what they're supposed to do versus or as per the terms of your contract with them? So here's what you get to understand. If I was doing what Bear River is doing at Beacon Recovery, Utah Medicaid would be up my backside so far that the light would be coming out of my throat. They'd be all up right up my ass and shutting me down. There would be investigations up to Gazula, right? And I don't know if I'd actually be able to recover, right? Because it's a travesty. Oh, and while we're calling people out, KSL, I've been to your office 2 times, won't even let me in, right? I got to stand outside. Last time it was in the bitter cold. I couldn't even get through the door. First time I actually got through the door and went to the little intercom through the door. Second time it was, 20 something degrees and you're making me talk to you. And I'm sharing this information with you. And do you think any of you have called me back? What is going on with you people, right? Oh, and while we're calling people out here in the state of Utah, you get a DUI. And your first DUI, and let's just break that down for a second, real quick. Do you think, Your Honor, whatever judge is telling people when they get their first DUI that they have to take the Prime for Life course? Look that up, Prime for Life, right? Oh, and by the way, the person that heads up Prime for Life, I think her name is Holly Watson, she's on the dole with Bear River Mental Health. She's on their board. Imagine that. But we won't talk about that. Let's talk about that for a sec. Do you people really think that by the time somebody gets caught for the first time, that gets their first DUI, that's the first time they drank and got behind the wheel? Are you people really that stupid? But that's what you're saying. On their first DUI, no need to get treatment for you. Just go take that Prime for Life course. And let's talk about the Prime for Life course while we're at it. We used to offer the Prime for Life, and we actually still do. Probably get my chain yanked right now for what I'm about to say, but there's zero accountability. They take a 16-hour course, usually in the evenings, right? And that's what the judge is telling me. All I got to do is take the Prime for Life course, but all the while I'm taking the Prime for Life course, whatever day I'm taking it, I'm still partying on the weekends. Do you think I stopped drinking because I'm taking this stupid-ass course? I shouldn't say stupid. There's a lot of really good information in that Prime for Life class, really. But there's zero accountability. None. There's no way that they're even told, hey, go pee in that cup so we can verify you're not drinking anymore while you're taking the course at least, right? So the vast majority of the individuals that got popped on a DUI, remember, not the first time they were drinking and driving when they got their first DUI. I mean, do you understand that concept? I mean, do you see where I'm going with this? Just because you got caught for the first time, that's not the first time you drank and drove. But no, oftentimes in our court systems, remember, set up for failure, it's the second DUI. Now, that's what we're going to tell you that you need to get treatment. Are you people mad? Have you lost your minds? They get their first DUI, and you're not ordering them to get some sort of a treatment? What are you waiting for them to kill somebody? Kill themselves? Worse yet, or both? They got a DUI. Do you think that's oh, wait a minute. That's the first time that they've ever actually drank and got behind the wheel. Is that your, what? You guys got to be, what is happening here? Let me just clue you in, right? Give you a little lesson on reality. Just because they got caught in that DUI, I can assure you there's probably about a 99.99999% chance that they drank and drove prior to getting caught for the first time. And all you're having them do is take a class, no evaluation at all. Everywhere they're turning, the system is set up for these people to fail. Any questions? That's why this was a last minute thing. We just finished with
Diane Hunt.
Diane Hunt, Life Wave, right? But this is maddening. Let's have a conversation, right? Oh, and by the way, I've mentioned my issues with Senator Sandel. Got absolutely, I mean, you were there. Oh, he was talking, but guess what assistance I've gotten from him or Tom Peterson, my representative? Zero. And speaking of Tom Peterson, I went to you about 2 years ago. You even apologized to me that you didn't get anything accomplished with the good judge, right? And yet, here we are. How long has it been since I've been over to the state capitol to talk to these boys? I don't know, a month ish.
Yeah, 6
I've even
weeks.
texted both of them, and well, here's one for you. I'm not going to go away because I, unlike you, care enough about these people. I know that was kind of horrible for me to say. It really is. But if you really gave two shits about these people, your constituents, you would be doing more than flapping your gums. You would be getting something done, and you aren't. And all the while, because it's not your child that's suffering from these addictions and having these major problems, it's not in your family, apparently. I don't know. Well, it's not that important to you, so therefore you think I'm going to go away and it's just going to drift away. It's not, right? I'm going to call you out, okay? Because you, Senator. Oh, and by the way, when I went to Senator Lee, what is it? Senator Lee, is that his name? I think yeah, Senator Lee. I went to his office, the guy over in Washington,
Mike Lee.
Mike Lee. Yeah, let me tell you something, Senator Lee. Your two ditwits that you sent down, you didn't personally send them down. You know, they're saying things to me that I think is rather, well, comical. I actually had the audacity to smile. And one of your little assistants told me, and I quote, if you laugh, we won't help you. Turns out they haven't. They were very rude and very disrespectful, and I let them know, right? It's easy for you to sit up in your ivory tower, right? And have this bullshit attitude with me right now. Because it wasn't the first time I'd been to his office. I did go to the office a week prior, and they told me, well, we're going to have so and so, and she'll reach out to you. When I go back the second time, they're like, well, you never reached back out to us again. That's not what was said. You didn't tell me to reach back out to you. Did you think I wouldn't do it? You flat out lied to me, and then you get upset with me when I call you on it. Okay? I'm going to continue to do stuff like this to as many people or with as many people that finally somebody's going to listen because these people deserve better, right? Somebody's got to stand up for these people because they don't know that they can do so themselves, right? I know you know what I'm talking about. I mean, imagine you're in a courtroom. You're in a court. You got those sheriff deputies with guns and handcuffs. You try to go walk up to the podium without having permission. You think that that judge is telling you the truth, and he's not. You believe him because, of course, well, he's a judge. Surely he's telling me the truth. And surely since he's a judge, he's got, because he's a good guy, right? Other than the fact that he's sending people to their graves. You think he's telling you the truth. And he isn't. So, thank you,
You're
Sarah.
welcome.
Next time we do one of these podcasts, I need you to talk a little less,
I'll do my best.
right? Do you have any questions about anything that I've just said? Anything you'd like to chime in on, other than the fact that this is all kinds of messed up?
No, I feel like what your goal was to relay a pattern that you have been seeing, and I don't feel like you needed me to say much. I feel like you wanted to weave that all together so that people could see where these things are connected, and that is what you did.
Yeah. Well, as always, if anybody, including the good judge, wants to call me out, let's talk about it.
Yeah,
Right?
I'd love to have any of
To
those
anybody.
names, any of the names that you spoke just now, if any of them wanted to come and sit on these velvet couches in Harvey the Bus, I think that would be
Or,
fantastic.
you know what? We'll come to your office if need be.
Sure.
Absolutely. Including, what's the sheriff up there?
Riser.
No, that's the jail commandant, who, by the
Okay.
way, him and his staff told me when I was asking them, why are you making people go to Bear River? Can you hand these people a piece of paper with my name and Bear River on it when they leave your jail? The same jail that the judge told people to go to because they couldn't get off their drugs. So now they go to jail. They're about to get out of jail. And since they went to jail for a drug addiction problem, can you hand the people leaving your jail a piece of paper with my name and Bear River on it? No, we can't. Well, this came from Reiser, by the way, and his staff. I don't think Reiser said it. One of his lieutenants did, but he was sitting in the room.
Well, so I think that a great way to wrap this up is to just say this.
Wait,
This
hold
is
on.
an invitation.
I just want to make sure we understand. Can you give my name and their name on the same piece of paper? No, we cannot.
Yeah, I get it.
Well, wait. Why not? I say. Because. Well, okay. Because why? Well, because.
Right. So what I'm saying is,
Yes, invitation. Let's talk.
yeah,
Tell me and the rest of the people why you aren't at least allowing these people to choose where they are going. This isn't Nazi Germany. Why can't these people make their own choice? And go back to the judge. You shouldn't be sending anybody over there because they don't offer the level of care that is deserved with the diagnosis they're going to get from your drug court.
right. Yeah. So
Okay.
the purpose of this podcast is to shed the light of information that we might not have. So if anyone has information along any topic that has been discussed, please come and shed some light on it for us.
What she said. Right? Okay.